Hello and welcome back to Agile
Hey.
Driven
Oh,
Impact. We're super happy to have you with us for today's pit stop. We're going to be handling the urgent interruption management. So I want to paint the picture. You're in the flow. You're in the zone. You're doing the thing, whatever the thing is, you're making progress, and then Slack goes off. Then the email lands, whatever it is, something urgent has gotten in your way. It is, frankly, the biggest single threat to your focus and momentum, individually and as a team.
right.
Okay, are you scared? Because that felt like a horror movie the way I described it. Whew.
Yeah, the goal of this pit stop, though, is not to eliminate all interruptions because life happens, right?
Yeah, it does.
What we want to do is insulate the team so they can maintain focus and only deal with interruptions in a structured way and make sure that they're interruptions that they really should be dealing with. So that's what we're trying to do here with this pit stop.
And for once, I get to make the driving analogy. I was a member of the race car team too. I can make driving analogies here, right? And so if we think about these interruptions, it's an unscheduled detour because of construction, or it's a flat tire. And so whatever it is, it's unpredictable. It might be costly, both in time and repairs, whatever it might be. But it's something that is going to take your immediate disciplined action so that you can resolve it and get back on the road.
Yeah, and I think one of the things to do to diagnose this is figure out what causes interrupts, right? The most urgent interruptions are typically due to either poor prioritization or lack of clarity. So someone outside the team might need something now because they didn't know when they would get it or they didn't trust the process of when they were going to get it. So they're urgently saying, I need this right now. Maybe the process you have didn't catch that during your early planning or when you planned your goal. So this is what can happen.
Yeah, and so there's kind of I think two buckets or
Yeah,
two types of
I
interrupts
think so.
that are pretty, we'll call them high level enough that they work across lots of industries. So the first one we'll say could be like a critical interrupt. The server is down, the website's down. Gosh, those are a lot of tech things, but they're the first examples that come to mind. But
Hmm.
something, if you don't fix it, everybody's out of luck for a bit. Like we just can't work,
Right.
right? So that's our first kind of interrupt. The second kind, I'm going to call it a non-critical interrupt, but often feels really critical. There's a stakeholder that wants something to them that's really important. There's something about the work that needs to be edited, or a feature that needs to be fixed, or somebody wants something that wasn't planned. So, what is actually going to get your team's immediate attention? I think that's the question. We have to decide how urgent is urgent, a
Right.
scale of urgency, or we've got to have something to figure out how do we deal with these interruptions.
Yeah. And one of the things that can really help here is visibility and trust. So if you have visualization of what the team is working on, what are they focused on right now, and who cares about what they're focused on,
Mhm.
and to know, you know, when the team finishes this work, their need to interrupt dramatically decreases. So in other words, look, we already have this thing. We're working on it for you already. It just won't be done until this date can help. Or to say, hey, I understand the thing that you're asking for is very important, but here's a stakeholder that you also care about that's relying on what the team is already focused on right now. And the interrupting them will slow that down. Right. So having that visibility with someone and that transparency of what's going on.
Yep. And I think helping the team related to these interrupts and how do you process them is instead of having it sit on everyone's shoulders,
Right.
everybody has to be able to process and think about and prioritize these interruptions, having one person in the team. One person who's going to help shield the team from this. It might be someone that's worried about prioritization overall for the team. This is the person who's going to be like that single point of contact related to interrupts. They've got enough empowered decision making so that they can be trusted to handle these interruptions. And so that helps your team know, oh, if I get an interruption, I don't have to figure it all out on my own. I'm going to ask this person to help because they're like that single point of contact for prioritization. It also starts to help others in the organization that might come with an interruption. I should just go to this key individual who's going to help me figure out how do I get this thing addressed quickly, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that person should be able to decide what a true emergency is, right? And the team then, based on this process that we're introducing here, must stop the current work immediately. So if this thing is interrupting them, they have to go, okay, then what are we going to do about this interruption? And the team reevaluates the existing work against the new emergency, right? And that way the team is acknowledging that this emergency happened, that the team is going to handle it and not just one person. So it doesn't make one person have to still make all your commitments, but now you also have to handle this emergency. Instead, it's we're committing to something together as a team. I like the idea of people having a bit of a buffer when they start their time boxed goal to say, we know we typically get 3 interrupts in this time box. Therefore, we should be able to handle 3 interrupts this time without too much trouble versus every time an interrupt comes in, the whole goal is thrown away. So using some type of interrupting buffer is something that I like to have for all types of interrupts.
Yeah, and I think looking at the recent history of interrupts is actually an important piece just to flag. I know we're in a pit stop, but that actually makes it sort of an empirically based approach to interrupts. Some teams, we see that they get interrupted and they plan for 80% interrupts.
Right.
Some teams, it's like 5% of their time. So there's a big variation in teams
Yeah, it
for
depends
what
on the
they're
type of
hit to.
team you are, right? If you're a call center, you probably need 80% of your work to be interrupts because you
Absolutely.
have to service people. But if you're more an innovation team, maybe 10% is interrupts. I have yet to see many teams that can handle 0% of their work as
Yeah,
interrupts.
I would agree
But
with
I've
that.
seen teams that handle almost 100%. And if you're a team that handles a lot of interrupts, try to make that non-interrupted time something that makes it so that your team works more efficiently and more effective so that you can handle more of those interrupts per sprint or per time box.
Yeah, and the reason I wanted to flag it is I don't want people to feel bad if they're getting interrupted. It's not that you did anything wrong.
Yeah,
It's that life is happening.
right.
So as life happens, we've got those critical interrupts, and then we have more of those non-critical interrupts. And hopefully that person, that main point of contact, is able to help hear them, catch them, and say, thank you so much for bringing that up. Thanks for bringing that to our attention. We're going to put it and let them know where it is
Right.
in your upcoming body of work, in your list of things that are coming up, in that
Right.
emergent priority list of work, so that folks know where it might be. But sometimes, they might say, actually, this is really related to our short-term goal. Other
Right.
times, they're going to say, no, we're going to get to it in the next 2 week cycle of work.
Right.
But to be transparent that if the team's being asked for something new, let those stakeholders know where's it going to sit.
Yeah. So I guess our challenge from this pit stop is to try to designate someone in your team who's going to be that interrupt shield. Try it for a week or two. See how much this increases the team's focus and momentum. And, check back in after a week of trying it or a couple weeks of trying it.
Yep. It's not going to minimize necessarily the number of interruptions. It's going to improve the way in which you manage the
Exactly.
interruptions.
Exactly.
Hit us up with any questions that you have about interruption management. We'd love to help answer more.
Yeah. And if you want help with interrupt management, maybe our sponsor could help you with that.
Hey, maybe our sponsor could. So, our podcast is sponsored by Agile in Nonprofits. They are helping nonprofit organizations around the world to create greater impact, yet at a sustainable pace. So, check them out at agileinonnonprofits.com.
And handle interrupts, probably. They even help with that.
Oh my gosh, they might. They very well might.
All right.
Hey, thanks for joining us.
See you next time.
Keep driving that impact.